Hey, welcome back. Wanted to talk to you about when our mind gets out of control with a thought, just one thought, and you can't let go of that one thought. Like, let's say you got in a fight with a friend and you keep replaying what you said and what they said over and over again. Why didn't I say this? Oh, I should have said that. Why did they say what they said? And it's funny, but what we're doing is wasting our precious energy because that's in the past. You can't change it. And realistically, if you really want to know, you don't just wonder, you actually ask. Now, if you don't want to go down that path and you don't want to ask, then you have to let that go. But that is easier said than done, right? Because we can get stuck on one thought like none other. So this skill that I'm going to teach you, I call it mind mapping. And it's sort of like if you teach English and you have a central thought, and then when you're writing, you just put down the one thought and then you do sub thoughts off of that, sort of like thought clouds off of the main thought. And that's sort of what I'm talking about with mind mapping is you're going to have this one thought that you can't let go of. And that's when you know you're stuck. So this comes from actually The Whole Brain Child, written by Dr. Dan Siegel, I think is his last name. Wonderful book. And yes, it's about children, but it also works for us too. So he talks about how we're in our emotional brain or our logical brain. And in order to get out of our emotional brain into our logical brain, right, which is where we want to be to get rid of having to think that same thought over and over again, we actually have to tell the story over and over again, he says. And then you can get more logic put to it, and you tell the story of whatever it is that you can't let go of. You tell like colors and time frames and be as specific as you can to get out of that emotional brain. But what the mind mapping I do, he also talks about, it's like our prefrontal cortex in our brain is our calm hub. That's what we need to come back to, is that calm hub, so that we can think other things and be more rational. So he says, if you think about it, it's like spokes on a bicycle wheel, and there's gazillions of them going out from this central hub. And you're stuck, when we're stuck on that one thought, we're stuck out at the end of one of the spokes. So in order to get off of that one spoke, right, we have to come back to the central hub. You can do it with rhythmic breathing. And then what you need to do is think as many other thoughts as you can other than that one. Now, they have to be true thoughts. You can't just make up willy-nilly silly stuff. It has to be true, but they are more positive than what you're stuck on. So you could say things like, I have a white dog. The weather's beautiful today. I'm wearing a great outfit. I so love my kids. I have a great house. Oh, I love my couch. Gosh, we just got a new car, or whatever it is. And you just start thinking any other thoughts than the one you're thinking. And by the time you get to 9 or 10, you feel better because you're peeling off of that one thought. Now that is mind mapping, and that's the last thing I teach in my book is mind mapping, but I thought I'd offer it to you right now because it's such an important skill. Along with rhythmic breathing, I think it's the winner. Well, and also gratitude journaling, but yeah, it's that important. It's that necessary for us because, we can get augured in on some thought and let it ruin us for days on end. That isn't what we want to be doing. We want to be living a life that we are content in, that we can feel happy in, that we feel satisfied, that we feel like we're on top of our game. And we don't want to be beating ourselves up. Right? That is not worthwhile. And certainly living in the past, rehashing what's gone on, complete waste of time. So it's important that you get off of that thought and you do it through mind mapping. Now, you can read it in the end of the book and you can see what I'm talking about more thoroughly, but try it. If you're stuck on something where you just can't get over it, you're worried about something, or I don't know, like you think you have some disease when you really don't, but you're just worried about things and you're making stuff up in your head. Yeah, that's when you need to do the mind mapping. And first and foremost, the rhythmic breathing to bring you back to the calm hub, you know, that central part, that front prefrontal cortex. You come back to that central hub on those spokes, the wheel spokes, and you sit there for a moment, and then you start thinking 8 or 9 or 10 other thoughts than what you're thinking, but they are positive, more positive anyway, and they're true. They can't be fake. They have to be true. And try that skill, because in today's world, we can get really wrapped up in the news, the things that are going on. And yes, it's crazy times, but we can't do much about that ourselves. So we have to work on our thinking and getting ourselves more organized to the present moment. And we do that through rhythmic breathing and mind mapping. So I want you to give it a try. And what I'd love from you is if you would subscribe and like, and also send me comments. I'd love to hear from you. I want to know that this is working for you, or that we can engage in conversation, because it makes me happy snappy if we can engage. So let me know, but definitely if you can, share it too, because I'm trying to help people. All right, I will talk to you later. All right, bye.